So you're thinking about starting a handmade business and you want to know, should I start on Etsy or should I start on Shopify? Or should I have both or neither? Well, I can't answer the neither question for you, but today I'm going to compare Etsy and Shopify and help you to decide which one is the right place for you, or perhaps if they're both the right choice for you. Now, before I start, I have personally been selling on Etsy since 2008. I have not personally sold on Shopify, though I have had plenty of students in my courses, like my Setup Shop course, my Thriver Circle membership, that do use Shopify and are happy with it. I personally use WooCommerce on WordPress, and that's because I have lots of different websites. So for me, it makes sense to have WooCommerce because I just pay for one lot of hosting. I have a bunch of websites and I sell on that website. Now, if you are in that sort of circumstance and you have multiple businesses, that might be an option for you. I'm not going to talk about that anymore in today's video though. I'm going to focus on those of you who just have one business and you want to know where to sell, and it's an e-commerce business, so you want to set up an online shop. Okay, so I'm quickly going to go through the pros and cons of Etsy, then I'm going to go through the pros and cons of Shopify, and then we're going to do a little comparison at the end of the video. All right, so here are some pros of Etsy. Number one, it has built-in traffic. So when you sell on Etsy, when you set up an Etsy shop, you're taking advantage of being on a marketplace like Amazon or eBay. You know, they're a marketplace where you set up a shop. It's like going and setting up a shop in a mall where you've got passing foot traffic, right? If you set up on Etsy, you've got passing foot traffic. And so you're much more likely to get sales just from being on the platform, because if you set it up right, the platform will bring you traffic and bring you sales. The second pro of Etsy is it's very easy to get set up. They take you step by step through the setup process and show you everything you need to do to get a shop open. There's not much to mess with. You know, you can change your banner, you can change your profile picture, your shop picture, change your announcement, and obviously all of your listings you can edit, your shop sections, but that's about it. Like every Etsy shop basically looks the same and you don't have too much you need to mess with. I mean, there's enough to learn when you get started setting up a shop. And if you're not technically inclined, that means that Etsy might be an awesome choice for you. The third pro is it's got a low initial cost. And if you're not making that many sales, a pretty low ongoing cost as well. So when you set up on Etsy, you have to pay a $15 setup fee, and then you pay for your listing. So you pay 20 US cents for every listing that you put up on the platform. That lasts for 4 months, and then you renew it for another 20 cents. You also have to pay for transaction fees, payment processing fees. I've done a whole nother video on that. I'll put a link to that up here if you want to check that out afterwards. But basically the fees are pretty reasonable when it comes to selling somewhere online. Again, as I said, if you're not selling a huge amount of product, and we'll talk more about when that might change later in the video, but basically it's pretty affordable to get started. Another pro of Etsy is it has a big community of people like me out there who use the platform and teach you how to use the platform and help you out with how to use the platform. So there's a lot of support from other sellers out there, and you know, there's a nice handmade community on the platform, and there's lots of Facebook groups and lots of other places where you can get help and support to answer any questions you might have about selling on Etsy. Okay, so some of the cons of selling on Etsy are also the fees. It's pretty good when you get started, and the fees are not too high if you have priced correctly. I'll put a link to a video up here where I show you how to calculate your prices correctly. This is the biggest issue I see people have with Etsy fees, is that they're not actually pricing their products properly, high enough to actually cover the costs. And that means that you lose out, and then you get frustrated and you say, oh, Etsy fees are too high. They're not low, but if you price correctly, they're okay, until perhaps you start selling more and more. And that's where being somewhere like Shopify might be a better choice for you. And we'll talk about that more in a minute. Another con is the limited branding opportunity. You know, like I said before, every Etsy shop pretty much looks the same. You're on Etsy, you're in the Etsy ecosystem. When people scroll around on your shop, they're not just going to see your items. When they scroll to the bottom of your shop and stuff, they're going to be sort of taken off elsewhere in the Etsy ecosystem. And it's kind of hard to stand out. You know, when people buy from your shop and someone asks them, hey, where did you get this? chances are they're going to say, I got it on Etsy, not that I got it from your shop name. Okay, so the lack of branding is a bit of a downside. Another con is, of course, the competition. When you're selling on a venue platform, people are searching on that platform. Or again, like I said, when they're on your shop even, they can be distracted off elsewhere because there's like the search bar at the top and categories, and other shops will pop up, other listings will pop up in places. So there is a lot of competition there, and it's right in your face. So, it's kind of easy for people to choose someone else or to click away or be distracted on Etsy rather than just being on your shop and in your ecosystem on your own website. And a final con, of course, to selling on Etsy is they have their own rules and policies. There's a limit to what you can sell on the Etsy platform. You might make something that is not within their rules, and therefore you might not actually even be able to sell on Etsy. Or there might be something else about their policies or rules that you don't like or that limits you in some way. So that is a downside of being on a venue site. You have to abide by their rules. You have to do things their way. Things like the free shipping guarantee, which gives you a boost in search. If you don't offer that, you perhaps don't rank as high in search, or people won't click on you as much. So that's sort of some of the downsides of being part of the Etsy ecosystem. Another con, of course, that you'll hear a lot of people talk about is the lack of support. Some people have good experiences with Etsy support. Some people don't. I've had both. I've had great experiences with Etsy support, and I've had terrible experiences with Etsy support over the years. And that's someone with a platform and a voice. So for everyday sellers, there are some issues with Etsy as a platform. And that is something just to be aware of if you are going to be selling on there, that it is perhaps a dangerous place to put all of your eggs in the one basket. Now, before we go into Shopify, I just wanted to let you know quickly about my upcoming course, Set Up Shop. Whether you want to set up on Etsy or on Shopify or WooCommerce or Squarespace or any other platform, it really doesn't matter. I am going to teach you exactly how to do that and do it right first time. It's a 30-day intensive course. We have a lesson every day. Every lesson builds upon the last. In fact, it's actually a system that if you follow it step by step, you will emerge at the other end with a fully fledged and well-functioning online shop to sell your handmade goods. If you'd like to find out more about that, head on over to createandthrive.com/setupshop. The newest cohort of the course is running soon in mid-August 2024. I do run the course twice a year. So if you're watching this later and you would still like to come and do the course, make sure to head on over there, check it out, enter your email, and I'll email you when the course is rolling around yet again. But if you're watching this live or very close to when it's being launched, I would love to have you come and join us in that course. It's affordable and it's proven. I've taken thousands of people through this course over the last 10 years, and so many of them have gone on to have wonderful online businesses, and I would love to help you to do the same. So whether you want to start or overhaul a current online shop, Set Up Shop will help you do just that. Okay, let's get on to Shopify. Let's talk pros of Shopify. The first one, of course, is full control. You can make the shop look however you want. It's your own website, basically. It's a standalone website. It's not a shop on a venue platform. So they're actually two very different things. Shopify is a way of hosting your own website. Etsy is a shop on a venue platform. So with Shopify, you can move things around, you can customize it, you can make it look and feel exactly how you want it to. Shopify is very scalable and customizable. So you can scale up your business to huge heights. You can customize your shop with all sorts of plugins and doodads to make the shopping experience better for your customers. Note on that, often these things cost you money, so just be aware of that. But there is a lot of scope and scale for altering your shop and making it the best possible ecosystem for your customers to buy from you. Shopify has some great built-in marketing tools, email marketing, social media integration, so you can take advantage of these tools on the platform to spread the word about your business. Etsy has a couple of these sorts of things too, but they're a little clunky and not so fun. Another pro, of course, is that your website is its own place. It's a standalone place. Once someone is on your website, they're not going to be distracted off to other people's shops because they're on your shop and your shop only. So that is another benefit of being on Shopify. Another one, of course, is the professional Another one, of course, is professionalism. Struggling to say that word today. Professionalism? Professionality? No. Another pro of Shopify is it looks super professional. So you have your own URL, it's yourshop.com rather than Etsy, yourshop@etsy.com. So it makes your business look more legitimate than perhaps just having an Etsy shop would. And another pro is that if you are a high volume seller, Shopify will probably be cheaper for you because you only pay a monthly/yearly fee and then a very small payment processing fee. Unless, I believe, if you're in the US or possibly Canada, if you use Shopify payments, I think you don't have to pay this fee. I'm not in either of those places, so I don't have experience with that. But basically, if you're a high volume seller, if you're selling on Etsy, they take a cut of every single sale, whereas on Shopify, not so much. They don't take a cut of every single sale. They just have a payment processing fee, not a transaction fee, a payment processing fee for using the payment gateway. But that's going to be a lot less of a cut out of your profits. Now let's look at the cons. Again, if you're a beginner or a low volume seller, the cost of Shopify is kind of prohibitive. It starts at $29 a month if you pay yearly. If you pay monthly, that goes up to $39 per month. And here in Australia, those costs are even higher. So that's a lot of upfront money to be spending for not necessarily making any sales. The upside of Etsy is that you apart from that $15 open fee and the listing fees, you don't pay anything until you sell something, right? So you're only paying them more money when you make money. Whereas on Shopify, you're paying the money no matter what. Now, Shopify do have a cheaper option. They have this thing called Link Pop, and through that, you can actually sell directly on your social channels. So Instagram, TikTok, places like that. And that's only $5 a month or $7 Australian dollars a month in order to be able to sell using the Shopify payment gateway through your social media channels. So that might be a nice intermediate option for those of you who don't want to go full on into having a Shopify shop, a whole website, but you still want to use the Shopify payment and product setup system. So that is one to look at potentially as well. Another con of Shopify is it's a bit more of a learning curve. You have to be a bit more tech savvy to set up on a Shopify site. There's more moving parts. There's more things that you can add or take away. So there's more to learn. And it's possible to do it, of course. There's so much stuff out there showing you how to set up a Shopify shop on YouTube, on Shopify themselves. They have a great support team, so I've heard. Tell me if I'm wrong about that. But that might be a little bit more of a barrier to getting set up first time. Now, a big con to Shopify is the lack of traffic. Okay, so you don't have built-in traffic when you have a Shopify store because it's literally a standalone website. It all comes down to you. You have to drive all of the traffic to your Shopify site in order to make any sales. And for anyone with an online business, you know how hard it is to drive traffic to your website. And it's just getting harder. Very much like I talked about over on Etsy, one of the cons was competition, being on the platform. When you're selling on your own website, the entire internet is your competition, right? Because people have to find you somehow. Are they going to find you in a Google search? Are they going to find you accidentally on social media and then come through to your shop that way? Like, how are you going to get people to see your website? You have to figure that out. Otherwise, your Shopify shop will just sit there and not get any traffic. Okay, so let's do a final comparison of the two platforms. When it comes to ease of setup and use, I think Etsy wins here. It's simpler and easier to set up. However, Shopify does give you more options and control. When it comes to costs, Etsy has lower startup fees and lower ongoing fees, but a much higher cost per transaction than Shopify. So if you're a low volume or beginner seller, Etsy is probably the better bet. But if you're a higher volume, more established seller with your own traffic, then Shopify might be a better choice for you. When it comes to branding, obviously Shopify is the winner here. It allows you to have a fully fledged standalone branded website for your business that makes you look more professional than simply having a shop on the Etsy platform does. Traffic, of course, well, Etsy is the winner here because it's going to bring you traffic just for being on the platform, whereas Shopify, you're going to have to work a heck of a lot harder to drive traffic to your site. And there is also, which I didn't mention earlier, the fact that people are probably more comfortable buying on Etsy because they might already have an account with Etsy. They might be familiar with the platform. Whereas if they come to buy from your standalone website, you have to really prove that you're a legitimate business and that they can trust you. So having a lot of like customer reviews, social proof, good social media presences that they can double check is probably a really good idea if you want to have a Shopify site. And when it comes to scalability, Shopify is obviously the winner here. It allows you to grow. It has more plugins and things to alter the functionality of your website. So you have a lot more control over how it runs, how it looks, and how it works for your customers. So my final recommendation is, if you are just a beginner, start on Etsy. See it as a training ground, see it as a place to get going and to kind of prove the concept of your business before you invest the big money in setting up on Shopify. However, if you are established, you want to have your own standalone website, you want to have that professional branded place on the internet that you can send people, then Shopify is an excellent choice for that. It's beautifully set up to run a really successful e-commerce shop. So if you do want to take that leap and to the next level, then Shopify would be the way to go. And of course, there's no reason you can't have both. If you have a successful Etsy shop and you want to up level and have a Shopify shop, you can keep your Etsy shop, let them drive traffic to your shop on the platform. And then when you open your Shopify website, you drive your traffic to your own website. And that way you take advantage of all your hard work when it comes to marketing. Rather than sending it to a venue, you're sending it to your own platform. Remember, if you would like to set up shop and you want my help to do it, head on over to createandthrive.com/setupshop and join us for the next run of the course. I would love to have you there. We'll have so much to learn. You'll be able to work with me as well. Ask me questions throughout the course. I'm there all the time helping you out. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Do you have an Etsy shop? Do you have a Shopify? Which ones worked better for you and why? Let us know in the comments below. Give us a like if you enjoyed this one and found it useful. Of course, I've got links to both Etsy and Shopify below if you're not already familiar with them. They are affiliate links, so check those out below as well. And if you'd like to learn more about how to sell successfully on Etsy, check out this playlist of all of my Etsy videos. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you next time. Bye for now.